Hi, I'm Matt from the HMO platform. Now, we help landlords across the UK get on course towards profitability, wealth and success in an ethical way using our next level HMO and co-living strategies. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking all about fire risk assessments. Now, these are mandatory to be done in every HMO. Now, a fire risk assessment can be done by any competent person, so it could be the manager of the HMO, it could be yourself as the landlord, or you can get professionals to come and do them for yourself, or even the fire brigade can do them as well. Now, the fire risk assessment process can be broken down into 5 clear steps. Now, the first one is to identify any potential hazards for fire. So we're talking about sources of fuel. So this could be the boiler where there's gas. In the kitchen, there's obviously cooking and gas. It could be the bedding, the linen, the furniture. All of these things could be flammable or could go up in flames. So identifying any potential fire hazard. Now, the second thing that we need to do is to identify anybody who is at risk in the property. Now, this could be someone who's asleep, it could be someone who's a visitor or a guest to the property who doesn't know how to get out, or it could be someone who has a disability, whether that's a physical disability or a learning disability, someone that might need help to exit the building. It could be anybody who's particularly slow to get out of the property, or anyone who has maybe language issues and doesn't understand English. So those are the people that you want to identify on that second point of your fire risk assessment. Now, the third thing on our fire risk assessment is to evaluate and try and reduce that level of risk to the people in the property. So we're talking about removing any unnecessary fire risks, removing those hazards, removing those sources of fuel. And one thing that is a particular problem in HMOs is tenants overloading the electrical supply, so plugging in lots and lots of electrical stuff and leaving straighteners on, and leaving potential electrical hazards in a room. Then we also need to ensure that there are adequate fire precautions in place to warn people in case of fire. Now, the fourth step of our fire risk assessment is to make sure that people know what to do in the case of fire. So it's to record, it's to prepare and to train the tenants. Now, there isn't a real obligation to make sure that a tenant knows exactly where they're going to go in the case of fire. We want to make it as easy as possible. So when a tenant moves in, we normally do an onboarding process which shows them how to get out in a fire. So to tell them this is an escape window, or to say in a fire, just go out the front door and then use a thumb turn to go to safety. It's also important to tell them about any risks in the property, so not to leave a pan on the stove for too long so it burns down the kitchen. To also show them the fire extinguisher and show them how to operate it, but also to tell them that that's not to stop a fire, that's to help them get out of a fire. Also, you might have a fire blanket, so draw their attention to that, so if there is a fire in the kitchen, you can just put it out really quickly using that fire blanket. And the last thing that you must do is to keep written records of everything you're doing with your fire risk assessment. Because if there is a fire and you've been found not to be keeping up with your responsibilities, then there could be some consequences for you as the owner of the property. And then finally, the fifth point is to review. Now, there's no legal timeline for when you need to review the fire risk assessment, apart from that you need to be on top of it all the time. So whenever you're in the property, keep an eye out for any potential new hazards. If tenants are putting things in the fire escape routes out, you need to make sure that it's removed and that they are aware that they shouldn't be cluttering the fire escape. So that is an overview about our fire risk assessment and what we need to make sure is in place to keep our tenants safe. So that's it for this video. Check out the rest of our series of videos for information about legislation, compliance, also how to get started and invest into HMOs. So click on the link below to subscribe to get future updates. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.